The old forces or the old power keep their hands on substantial part of society and economy and media, so they can influence the whole social arena.
Well, I think it is a very significant impact because, first of all, we have different Islamic forces now. We used to have just one force, which used to be Muslim Brothers. Now we have Salafism. Now we have independent Islamists. Now we have even a new generation of Islamists. So I think the Arab Spring has changed and reshaped the Islamic scene in the Arab world, and specifically in Egypt. So I think this is a good thing to have different Islamist voices that can compete each other, that can challenge each other, and that can push each other to develop their ideas. So I think this is a very good thing to have different voices of Islam.
I think that that women really surprised the world as well as Egyptians in their role in the revolution. They've been extremely active, and when I say active, I don't just mean in civil society, and I don't just mean in groups like NGOs and such, but I mean they have been physically active on the front lines. They have been in physical altercations with the military. I mean, we stand in front of the tanks, and we're there when they're shooting civilians and throwing tear gas bombs and that kind of thing. I think a lot of people didn't expect that. I think a lot of people expected the women to go home when things become violent, you know, and I think that they were very surprised at that. And I think that that's very empowering for women. It makes them feel like they're entitled to be involved in politics and to be involved in civil society and to be involved in opposition and to have an opinion and to be taken seriously, because their role in the revolution has been invaluable. I mean, the group that I work with, that I'm a member of, No Military Trials for Civilians, was started by women. And it was the first opposition group that was created against the army, and it was created in late February, early March of last year, when the entire country was defending the military and saying that they're the heroes of the revolution. We were the first group to be put together to realize that the military is trying to abort the revolution and trying to sort of reinstate the past regime. So, so that's, I think, a credit that you can't, that history will remember, and that that nobody can take away from the, you know, from the Egyptian woman.
Well, I mean, democratic transition by nature is uncertain process. As I said before, that you cannot predict what will come next. What you need to do is try to make balance between different forces, between different voices, and try to construct, to some extent, an open political system that can include all political parties and can create some kind of consensus over the future. So it's very difficult to predict what will happen in the Arab world, but I would say as long as we have a very dynamic, very active generation, which is pushing for more openness and which has very democratic aspirations and hopes, I think the future might be bright and might be good. But this is not. This will not happen easily. It will take time, and it will go through some kind of political conflict and political disputes. So we don't need to rush. We shouldn't rush. We need to to give some time for this process to start and to become more solid, and try to include all political forces within this process.
The social networks have been Of course, they've been very important with activists to share information and to share videos and pictures and that kind of thing. But I think people overestimate the importance of social networking. Yes, it's very important, but you have to understand that the majority of Egyptian people do not have a computer. The majority of Egyptian people do not enjoy the services of the internet. So, and on some days, you had millions and millions of Egyptians in the street. A lot of them, like I said, don't have access to social networking. So while it was, yes, very important, especially for activists, because most of the activists do find a way to be connected via social networking because it's so important to stay connected with each other, it needs to be stressed that this was not the sort of the spark, or it facilitated certain things. Certainly it facilitated meeting spots, and it facilitated the dissemination of information and that kind of thing.
To genuine democracy. So the potential to have democracy after revolution is something need to be tested, and we cannot give a very general conclusion by saying that it is inevitably that each country who has a revolution will have a genuine and liberal democracy.